Come and find me on the mountain.
Hi, everybody. It's Jaime Edwards-Acton. I'm the rector at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Hollywood and the priest in charge at St. Barnabas in Eagle Rock. And today is Monday, May 11th, and I just wanted to give a Sunday recap of yesterday's sermon online. Yesterday, I focused in on the reading from Acts, and it was Acts chapter 7, near the tail end of 7, and where Stephen is the story of, at the end of his story, where he's murdered, stoned to death by an angry mob, and lynched, really. It was kind of a first century lynching, and for reasons it states earlier in chapter 6 that that because he did great signs and wonders, that it kind of caught everybody's attention, the authorities, and it ends up where they end up lying about him and then stirring up the crowd to bring him before the council, and then they end up dragging him out in the streets and stoning him to death. So the story of Stephen, it's an important one for us at St. Stephen's because it's our patron saint. He was also one of the first deacons in the church, the first martyr in the church. A lot going on there with Stephen, but it particularly made me think of recently what's been going on with Ahmaud Arbery and the young 25-year-old African-American man in Georgia, Brunswick, Georgia, who was out for a jog, and like Stephen, for being different, right? He ended up two white men, or more actually, I guess, a few white men ended up. They suspected that Ahmed was part of a burglary, so they thought it was their birthright to, because they were white in a white supremacist society, with that privilege that they had the authority and they had the privilege and the permission to track him down, confront him, which led to an altercation. And in trying to defend himself, Ahmaud Arbery was gunned down in cold blood with 3 shots. In the story of Stephen, as I told the story yesterday, I said, the Stephen story made me think of Ahmaud, but it also, the thing that made me think about it was the fact that there's these other characters in the story of Stephen that don't often get mentioned. Stephen, of course, we hold him up as an inspiration of someone who courageously spoke his truth, but at the same time, there's these other characters in this passage, and one is the mob. And this particular mob was not unlike a lot of lynch mobs throughout our own history, or even today in different forms, was made up of good church folk. And so there was also a character in the story of Stephen named Saul, who we will come to know as Paul, St. Paul, later. But at this time, this is a little snippet of Paul. We're introduced to him here as Saul, when he's Saul, and he is simply he's just taking coats. He's holding people's coats while this is all going on, while they're stoning Stephen. And other than that, he doesn't really do anything. And I pointed out to my congregation yesterday that the fact that he doesn't do anything, that's the problem. The fact that he doesn't do anything and just takes coats and supposedly is a bystander, that he is legitimizing, validating the actions of the mob. So I just left the sermon for us to kind of reflect upon among these 3 characters that are highlighted, where, who will we be, especially as we leave this COVID experience, where all our racial inequities in this society have been kind of just brought to the surface and highlighted 1,000,000%. Where will we be in this story as we now and as we continue to emerge from this COVID crisis? Will we be stone throwers? Will we be coat holders? Or will we speak our truth and with courage proclaim God's unconditional love and justice? And that's it. So I hope if you would like to join us online, you can send an email to me at hopeinhollywood@gmail.com. We're meeting via Zoom, so we do want to know who's joining us. And so send me an email. I'd be glad to get you that information so you can join us. Have a great day. God bless.
And we can do it together. This is our forever. Just come and find me on the mountain.